I'm back. Rodrance for the Black and White Network. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Ground and pound the like button. And as always, thank you guys and gals for watching our channel. Okay, so Joe Biden should know he's in a lot of trouble for 2024. Why? Because there's been a bit of a shift on just Biden. Okay, just Joe Biden. When it comes to the mainstream media, you're starting to see more and more come out from the mainstream media that is shining a bad light on Joe Biden. Not the things he's necessarily doing in office right now. They still won't bring this shit up, okay? Hunter, forget it. Forget it. Have you ever seen a sumbitch smoke crack naked more in all your entire life, and his daddy is the president of the United States ever? I mean, think about that. I mean, have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, that's, man, what a national security liability that sumbitch is. Wow, it's unbelievable. But now we've got certain entities that are always protecting the Democrats. In this case, like the New York Times. The New York Times is always protecting the Democrats. They're always protecting people like Joe Biden. But you're starting to see a little bit of a shift, and the shift has to do with, we don't want you to run again. Okay? We know you're a dumpster fire. We're not going to write articles, one right after the other, emphasizing all the failures you have on a daily basis. But we are going to run enough that makes sure that you get the message, we don't want you to run again for president, which is what you're starting to see right now. Most Democrats don't want Biden to run in 2024. Daily Wire. Look at who did this poll. The New York Times. The New York Times put this poll out. And look at the headline again. Most Democrats don't want Biden to run in 2024. We've kind of talked about that. Gavin Newsom, the great white hype. I mean, they've got a pathetic bench, a pathetic bullpen, of which there is nobody in the bullpen. Oh, nobody's home. Nobody's home for the Democrats. It's not just Republicans who want President Joe Biden out of office. He's an epic failure. A new poll found that 64% of Democrat voters want someone else to run in the 2024 presidential campaign. Biden's approval rating is down to a third of all Americans, according to the New York Times. Just 26% of Democratic voters said the party should renominate Biden. Think about that for a minute. Wow. The Times wrote that public concern about the economy and inflation, quote, helped turn the national mood decidedly dark both on Biden and the direction of the nation. The findings show that the nation's growing pessimism, quote, spans every corner of the country, every age range, racial group, cities, suburbs, rural areas, as well as both political parties, the Times wrote. Oh, it's epically, historically bad for Joe Biden. The New York Times just said you have failed with every group in the country, regardless of the area of the country. The poll also found that just 13% of those surveyed think the nation was on the right track. That the lowest point in Times polling since the financial crisis of 2008. In addition to Democrats, independents have also soured on Biden. More than two-thirds, 69% of independents, disapprove of Biden's job performance, with nearly half, 48%, disapproving strongly. The bad news poll followed another report in the Times that scrutinized Biden's age and lucidity in a way a liberal news outlets hitherto avoided. The piece pointed out that Biden, at 79 years old, is already older than Ronald Reagan when he left office, and the paper said that Biden would be 86 at the end of his tenure. testing the outer boundaries of age and presidency. The paper tried to run some cover for the beleaguered president, who often misspeaks in speeches and looks frail. The piece cited sources saying, quote, remained intellectually engaged, asking smart questions at meetings. So do some kindergartners. Grilling aides on points of dispute and calling them late at night. So the old man can't sleep, and that's supposed to be a strong point? Okay. Yet there was one very uncharacteristic paragraph, quote, but they acknowledge Mr. Biden looks older than just a few years ago. A political liability that cannot be solved by traditional White House stratagems like staff shakeups or new communication plans. His energy level, while impressive for a man of his age, is not what it was, and some aides quietly watch out for him. He shuffles when he walks, and aides worry he will trip on a wire. He stumbles over words during public events, and they hold their breath to see if he makes it to the end without a gaffe. So, that's where we are. We are at the point now where the New York Times is actually printing out and running a poll and releasing it that says the great majority of Democrats do not want to see Joe Biden run for office again in 2024. Who are they going to run? Who they going to run? Who they got? I mean, it's a nightmare. You can't run AOC. You can't run any of the. You know, they're starting to prop up. The mainstream media is starting to prop up Gavin Newsom, the great white hype, as I call him. He run a little hit piece. I did a video on that involving Ron DeSantis. I think a lot of Democrats, I think a lot of mainstream media believe it's going to be Newsom versus DeSantis in 2024. The Democrats are going to get worked in that election. Provided there is no shenanigans, I think it's going to be historically bad. I'm talking about outside of New York and California and Oregon, every state's going to be in play for Republicans. I truly believe that in the presidential election. Even some notoriously Democratic-leaning states are really going to walk in a booth, and people are going to think of the absolute train wreck this has become. CRT, defunding the police, border. I mean, everything that we talked about in my video yesterday, the 13 failures that Joe Biden's had. Hunter. Okay, they're going to go through all this stuff when they walk in a voting booth. And it's going to be your moderate Democrats. I understand that. The radical left, the progressives, they're not going to vote Republican. They're lost, okay? Those people are going to vote Democrat. They don't have any other choice. But you're just to the left of center, they've lost them. It's a wrap. The Democrats have lost those people. Loony, nonsensical policies have lost that voter. They just have. And Joe Biden, hell, we knew he was not mentally capable of being president while he was on the campaign trail. They were hiding him, for crying out loud. And now we've got the New York Times with a poll saying Democrats, not Fox News poll, not Newsmax poll, not Rasmussen poll, the habitual, progressive, woke New York Times published a poll that says Democrats don't want Biden in office anymore. Wow. It's over. It's a wrap for Joseph. Tell me what you think. Black and White Network supporters, peace. I'm out. Till next time.